And there we go, guys. That is a completely restored back to original condition W116 engine compartment. That's how they looked from the factory. Look how beautiful that is. Alright guys, today I'm working on the 1979 300 SD. This is one of my favorite cars. Haven't done a lot of videos on it, but basically the aesthetics, the interior, all that stuff is done at this point. You can see the interior. Absolutely beautiful. Even went to the extent to replace all the window brushes. So now I'm in the process of removing all of the original parts on the engine compartment that had cadmium plating. So you can notice all the injector lines, all of this has been removed, and I actually have them, all the throttle linkage. Here you go. So see how the cadmium has worn off and it's just down to the regular metal, and we see a little corrosion has started right there and right there. So all this is going to be sent off to have it sandblasted and Re-Cadmium plated. It's actually called zinc dichromate, but zinc dichromate looks exactly identical to the original cadmium plating. I've tested it, done it on other cars, and it looks perfect. So all this is being sent off to California. It's going to be replated and then reinstalled on the car to make it exactly how it came from the factory. And today I'm going to be working on reinstalling all of the pieces in the engine compartment that were originally zinc dichromate, yellow zinc dichromate plated. A lot of people just say cadmium. Here are all the pieces, all the throttle linkage, and you can still see I haven't taken the wires off yet. This is where the plater would hang the part in the parts washer. I mean in the plating solution. But you can see every little part. There's the injector lines. Every single piece. And you can see here, I've had everything covered and protected. See, there's the injection pump right underneath there. So anyway, oh, here's the, power steering pump. So everything's been covered up and protected while I've been waiting on this to come back. So today I'm going to go ahead and start reinstalling all these beautiful pieces. Look at this one. Look how good this one came out. This is your throttle linkage. Absolutely beautiful. And this is what they looked like from the factory, guys. This is what the plating looked like when it left Mercedes. All right, guys, you can see I've already started some assembly. Stuff is not tightened down yet. I just have stuff loosely in place, just doing test fitments to make sure I get everything right. And right now, let's get this over here. I need to start lubricating some of these pieces, and we use as transmission oil. Goes in there, and then over here there's our cruise control. That's eventually going to go through here, but I want to get my linkage and start attaching across the top and get my C-clips reinstalled here. Alright, I had to backtrack a little bit because I had this piece on down here wrong. So underneath this arm, see if you guys can see that. You have an arm down there, and then you have this bracket right here. There you go. Let me remove this so you can see what I'm doing here. All right, there we go. We've put on this bracket right here, and then we can put our throttle linkage back through there. And then this slips over the end of this piece here. So let's go ahead and get this one lubricated. Okay. So this piece, we'll lubricate that. Slides into the piece we just installed. There we go. And this piece, lubricate that. There we go. It slides into the back. There we go. Like that. Then we have our linkage up here. So let me go ahead and lubricate our linkage up here. Oh, come on, get off there. All right, let me lubricate this and we'll get that linkage installed. And this is not much torque, guys. You just snug it up. That's aluminum. You don't want to strip it. You just want it to bottom out. There we go. Right here. Get that installed. Lubricate that guy. Alright, that's basically your Bowden cable. Is how that works. There we go. Now we need to put our C-clips on the end. And let's see, we got one C-clip that goes up here. There we go. We have another C-clip that goes right here. I got it on there. I hate when I drop those. And we have a small C-clip that goes on top of, there we go, up there. Perfect. All right, we need to connect our throttle linkage back there in the back. That's to our accelerator pedal. Oh, I need to lubricate that. Almost forgot. Put some lubrication in there. There we go. Beautiful. All right, now we need to attach our linkage up here. All right, that is going to be, this is going to go all the way down to our injection pump. So I'm going to lubricate that. And these are the two that go on the top right here. So let me lubricate this one for the injection pump. All right, I realize you guys can't really see what I'm doing down here, but this crowbar, I'm not really using it for leverage, but it can go between the side of the engine block and push this little arm on. There we go. Basically, I got between the engine block and the ball socket and just went like that so I could snap it on there. All right, and the top of this one, we're going to lubricate it here. And this goes onto our linkage up here, our throttle linkage. And an easy way to get these to snap on when they're being tough is with some channel locks. There we go. All right. Perfect. All right, then we have this interesting one here. This one goes around here. Oh, let me lubricate it. I always forget. Gotta stick some oil on it. All right, this goes over here. We'll put it over here. There we go, beautiful. And this one is going to snap right there. A little lubrication. All right, and our channel locks. And the last one, a little lubrication. Snap that around to there. There we go. A little lubrication there. And our channel locks. Oh, let me go up a notch. There we go. All right. Beautiful. Now we have our throttle all back together. Works perfect. All right. Next thing I want to do is put the cruise control mounting bracket on here. Okay, this piece comes off of here. This little plastic clip, let me get it off of here, because this is going to thread through there. There we go. And this threads all the way down. That one goes through there. There's our cruise control. There we go. So this right here is our idle adjustment. This one right here is our cruise control. And I wasn't paying attention. I put the idle adjustment through the cruise control hole. But we're going to go ahead. All right, let's get this out of here. There we go. So this idle adjustment screws on like that. There we go. Okay, there we put the clip back on, which allows it to mount right there. And then we're going to put our cruise control right through here. There we go. That's going to mount right like that. There you go. These little plastic clips right here, that's what I was just attaching. These clip through these holes here. So we'll put one through that side. And we'll put one through that side. There we go. And then all right, then we've attached our little union clip here that holds them together. And now those are both back in place, perfectly adjusted, because I left them exactly where they were when they came off the car. Now to adjust the cruise control, for example, if it's not engaging or holding right, you have a plastic nut here. It looks very much like a Bowden cable. You can adjust that in or out to get a little slack. And then here's your you have an adjustment screw right here for your idle adjustment. There you go, guys. That is reassembly of the 1/16 throttle linkage, all freshly zinc dichromate, yellow zinc dichromate plated. And now I need to tighten down all the injector lines. Now to tighten these lines back down, I found an 11/16 crow's foot works perfect. You just get right around there. And you can perfectly adjust those. All right, now let's get our power steering filled up and our power steering lines reattached. All right, we have our power steering lines reinstalled right there. Zoom in on them. There we go. Those look very nice. So let's go ahead and put our power steering filter in. Now, boom. All right. bleed the air out of the system, guys, but at least we can get it started. I'll go ahead and crank it up, and it's going to suck all that down in there, and then we'll top it off. Let's just go ahead and get started. I want to get this thing fired up with all the new lines and check for any leaks. And I went ahead and cracked the output from the filter housing right here. That's going to bleed the air out of the system as I crank it a few times. We're going to bleed the air out of the system, so it's going to turn over several times. And what you guys are going to see, here we go. What you guys are going to see is when the air is bled out of the system, we should see some fuel coming out right here once the air is bled out of the system. All right, there's a good view right there. So just watch. You guys want to watch this one right here. When air gets out of the system, you'll see fuel coming out. Then I have to retighten it, and then it'll fire up. So let's go ahead and do that. All right, there we go. It tried to fire up right there. That's a good sign. That means the air got out of the system. So now we need to tighten our bolt back down. Oh yeah, see, we got diesel fuel all down here where it was squirting out. So that's good. Now we need to tighten back down. There we go. Good. Now let's go ahead and fire this thing up. All right, awesome. So let's go check for any leaks. Guys, we have no leaks. Everything looks fantastic. I'm going to go ahead and wipe off some of this diesel now. Mission accomplished. All right, guys, I'm pulled back into the main shop. We've got all the cadmium plating or zinc dichromate done over here. The next thing I want to do is sand down and refinish the air cleaner lid. You can see it's old and has a bunch of spots on it. So I want to go ahead and remove that. Also, this is the cadmium plated transmission kickdown, or it's like the Bowden cable for the 116. You can see the one on the car is still the original, and it's not plated correctly. It's just worn off. So this is a spare one for a 116 that I had on the shelf that I did have plated. So we want to get the car up in the air, replace this on the transmission, and then run it up here so we complete our plated look. There we go, guys. These are the original Mercedes-Benz parts. All right, I spent about 15 minutes sanding this down, removed any rough spots, and I've got it very smooth, and it's going to take paint very well now. And we're going to go ahead and primer this and paint this and refinish it, and it'll be factory brand new again. Okay, while I'm waiting on the air cleaner housing to dry after refinishing it, we can see here that the previous owner has already replaced the climate control servo with an aluminum housing servo. That's because the old school original Mercedes ones were made out of like this like Bakelite material. It's like a hard plastic, and they would crack and your coolant would leak out. So this has already been upgraded, and that explains why the AC works so well in this car. Right here is the auxiliary water pump, and there's a little cap on top you can take off to oil the little drive shaft right there. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. And guys, I just used some good household 3-in-1 oil. And we're just going to go ahead, lube that up a little, and put our cap back on there. And that'll soak down in there into the drive shaft and keep that working for years to come. All right, guys, I got the car up on the lift and disconnected the linkage for the, we call these the Bowden cables on the 300D and 300SD, the 123 and 126. But this is pre-Bowden cable. It's like a hard line. And I'm going to fish this out of here because this is cadmium plated from the factory. There we go. And there we go. There's our replacement line there that I had cadmium plated. So I want to put our replacement line on there. Just attach the end piece right here. I'm going to clean that with a parts washer and then fish this piece back down and connect it from underneath. All right, we have our part cleaned up, lubricated the bushing area right here. And now we're going to fish this back down through here. All right, guys, here we are under the car, and this is the right side of the transmission. This is the transmission pan. And you can see right there, this little stud right here is what our arm goes onto. So, let's see if I can get it up here. Pretty tricky to get it on there. There we go. There we go. Once that's on there, we have a little 10mm bolt that slips through, and then we put a nut on the back of it. And there we go, guys. That's it. That's on there. Now let's go reattach it up top. All right, guys, you can see our arm coming up here, and I'm going to undo the adjustment nut on the back so I can get it aligned properly. And we're also going to lubricate it. Put some transmission oil on there. And I actually like how the piece from the original one, how the bushing fits better from the original. So I'm going to get the bushing from the original one. And here we have the bushing that came off the original car. I'm going to go ahead and screw that back on here. There we go. Now let's put our clip back on. And we put our little retainer clip on. And there we go, guys. Now we need to tighten up the lock nut on the back. And there we go. Lastly, we'll put in our air filter. You can see we have the refinished air filter housing, and we also refinished the battery tray. Absolutely beautiful refinished air cleaner housing. You can see we put our clips, the original zinc dichromate plated clips around the sides. Let's see if I can get in here. There we go. So we got original gold colored clips back on there. All the throttle linkage is done. There's our new cable that goes down to the transmission. Guys, this is absolutely beautiful. This is how a 116 looked from the factory. Get our fresh filter in there. Look Look at that beautiful refinished battery tray. Awesome. They're so heavy. And there we go, guys. That is a completely restored back to original condition W116 engine compartment. That's how they looked from the factory. Look how beautiful that is. Guys, that took me like 2 days. Beautiful. Well, thanks for watching, you guys. That took like 2 days. That was a lot of work. But it's all back together. That's how they looked when they were new. And that's how I like to make my cars. So we will see you in the next video where I'm going to get the car up on the lift, go through the suspension, change any suspension components that need to be changed. And we will see you next time. Take care.